All right, what I'm going to do is try and help you get organized a little bit by understanding what I consider 4 essential elements to practice on a daily basis. Now, if daily doesn't work for you, you may have to do them every couple of days. I know the hard part about learning how to play guitar is that often we're up against time. How much time do we have? We have 85,000 things we want to learn how to do, but we have 30 minutes to do it, or we have an hour to do it, or whatever it might be. So the trick here is trying to figure out, what do you need most out of these various 4 categories? And they often will work together, okay? So what you do in one category actually benefits another category anyway, and that sort of thing. But just something to think about a little bit to try and better organize the way you think about grabbing the guitar each day and playing. Now, there's nothing wrong with what we refer to as noodling, which is just sitting around and, exploring the fretboard and just screwing around and doing whatever you like to do. There's nothing wrong with that. It just doesn't necessarily add up to large productivity in the bigger picture. I'm not saying that it can't help. Of course it can. And we should spend time just exploring the fretboard and exploring the instrument. There's no doubt about it. But if that's all we're doing, then we're not really setting our sights on anything in particular that we're trying to get better at. One of the most important things you can do is try and figure out where your faults are, and then how to remedy those faults as best you can, right? So let's look at the first category here is going to be content. Content. And what I generally mean by content is they're things, right? The one I want you to think about the most are learning how to play songs, okay? For some reason, there's a bit of a disconnect here. When I was a kid, I'm almost 50 years old. When I was a kid, everybody learned songs. That's how you learned how to play. Like your buddy down the street learned how to play Motley Crue tunes or Led Zeppelin songs or whatever, and you'd go watch them play, and then you'd learn how to play them. When I was a kid, I didn't go, boy, I can't wait to play scales and learn theory. I wanted to play Van Halen. I wanted to play Yngwie Malmsteen, and I wanted to play Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. Those were the things that I got excited about that made me want to pick up the guitar in the first place. And it seems like the older I get, the more I find people are forgetting that that's a really essential element of your journey on guitar, is learning songs. At the very least, it feels good. There's a connection there that just feels good when you play music that you love, okay? But the next level up is that those songs are providing you with visual skills, connectivity skills on your fretboard, rhythm, various techniques. There's all kinds of techniques involved in these sorts of things. And then on the third level is oftentimes those songs can provide you with creative ideas to do your own stuff, whether you're borrowing ideas from when you solo, you've got some licks that you learned from some song, or you're writing a song and you've got a chord progression that you heard that you thought was really nice, or a million other things like that. But the way I think is that every day you should be working on some sort of song element. Now, I'm not going to, take a really long time to do this. You can certainly look at some other videos that I've done too, but there are 2 different categories of songs that I think about. There are what I refer to as ego, E-G-O, ego songs, and project songs. Now, ego songs are songs that are relatively easy to play. You're not trying to do every single thing note for note. You're just enjoying the song and having some fun. And when you get done, you pat yourself on the back, you're feeling good, you got this song, okay? A project song, on the other hand, is a song that you really are trying to play as accurate as possible in whatever capacity, whether it's a rhythm thing or a solo thing or something like that. But project songs, let's look at it this way. If you were doing an ego song, and let's say our ego song was going to be Strumming to Knockin' on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan, and then your project song is going to be a Dream Theater song, okay? There's a vast difference there. Now, here's what I find a lot with a lot of my striving students over the years, students that really want to get good at this, is that they have a tendency to always bypass the ego songs because they're too easy. So they don't really develop basic strumming skills and basic groove skills and all these other things that happen by learning all of those kind of songs, because they're always diving deep into project songs. And here's the other problem. If you're trying to learn 6 project songs and you're not technically in that realm yet, you might get through the first X amount of measures and then you get stuck because you get to some lick and go, oh my gosh, I got to practice that. And then here's what winds up happening oftentimes with project songs is we don't learn them all the way through. And that's okay. But we have to go in there and go into it knowing that a project song is really a song that's going to give us a whole new perspective on guitar playing and practice and all these different kinds of things. But most of the time, we're probably not going to succeed, obviously not near as much as we would with an ego song. So the trick is trying to find a balance between the two. Have 5 or 6 ego songs that you're working on to 1 or 2 project songs, right? And those project songs are probably going to rotate quite often because you started learning how to play, whatever song by whoever you like, and you did it for a while and then you got frustrated and you want to move on. Project songs tend to cause a lot more frustration than ego songs do. And again, I think you got to find a right balance there. But the cool thing is as you get better, a lot of the things that you used to consider project songs become ego songs. And then now all of a sudden you've got new project songs, right? I mean, there's no guitar player in the world that can play everything ever by everybody. On one side you've got, X shredder, and then you've got this blues guy, and then you've got someone like Tommy Emmanuel who's just amazing on an acoustic guitar, and they're all vastly different from each other. And so our job is to figure out, well, where do we want to be in all of this stuff? And those songs can provide us with feeling good, having material that we can play with other musicians when we get together with other people, things like that. And then we've got these project songs that are providing us with new experiences and different things to really think about that get to the next category. I got to turn my notes back on here. So content. Content is definitely songs, but content can be all kinds of things. Content is just anything new that you can experience, new licks, new riffs, new songwriting ideas, new whatever tools that we can utilize on the fretboard. But let's start by thinking about it in terms of songs and then go from there, because all of this stuff feeds into the second category, which is technique. Now, as we're experiencing this content as it's coming in, we're now realizing that we need more work with strengthening our left hand, our digits on our left hand, or our fretting hand if you play backwards. I shouldn't say backwards, that sounds awful. But if you play opposite, I do, right? So your fretting hand, you got to build strength in your fingers. Or you're picking, you're trying to learn how to alternate pick faster, or you're learning how to sweep or whatever it might be. All of these various things are techniques that require us to slow down and just try and develop, right? And there's a million different things that we could do. I usually try and tell people, start with the most important ones first and then move into everything else, right? If you're working on sweeping, which is a great technique to learn how to play, but if you're learning how to do that and you don't know how to play your open chords yet, it might not be the best time in the bigger scheme of your life to be doing that, because the most important thing here is for you to start learning how to organize your time to optimize your journey. Wherever you are right now in your journey, and you're the only one that really knows, what are the things that you feel confident with? What are the things that you don't feel confident in? And then we have all of these things out here that we want to learn how to do. That's great. We want that. But let's start rearranging all these things that we want into steps, right? If we're here and we're learning how to play whatever, chords or strumming or scales or speed picking or whatever it might be, well, how do we get to the next level? What is the next level, right? And by next level, I don't just mean you're getting faster or something. I just mean you're getting better as a musician, right? As a guitar player, you're getting better. So you have more opportunity to sound good when you play with other musicians, or feel better when you play in front of an audience, or have better ideas musically when you record with, you get hired to do recording with other bands or musicians or whatever it might be. There's a million things that you can do. So we can't just get this one dimension focus that the only thing you should be doing every day is speed picking. And I'm not saying you are, I'm just saying, just think about it a little bit. Technique can be your execution of your bends, or your vibrato, or your slides, right? Or your hammer-ons and pull-offs. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that go into technique. Technique certainly is the strength of your fretting hand and the speed of your picking hand, because playing slow is relatively easy. Playing fast is hard. Doesn't mean we all want to play fast, but we're all against a clock. Every song we play has a tempo. Every song that we play has a subdivision of beat, right? So if you're playing at 120 beats a minute, you might still have a lick in there that's eighth notes or 16th notes or something that requires you to be able to play faster for that particular amount of time. It's not just playing fast all the time. It's having the ability to do it when you need it, and then do whatever else you want from there. Okay, so that's the technique category. You have content, which is songs and new experiences that are coming into you, and that tends to funnel into the technique. I am going to go back to content just for a second here. The other thing that's really great about songs is you can use them categorically as well. You can learn songs because you loved it ever since you were in 7th grade, and that's a great reason because it inspires you. But you can also learn songs because this song has power chords, or this song has open chords, or this song has a lot of strumming, or this song has speed picking, or this song does whatever. And now all of a sudden you're using these songs, whether they're ego or project, you're using them for a purpose that serves a bigger kind of a bigger servant to what you're trying to do with your guitar. And of course, that oftentimes will move into technique and things like that. But that's a great way of looking at your songs. Your songs are serving you by offering you something that you need in your playing. You're having a hard time picking. So you find a song that isn't ridiculous. Again, it's not a Dream Theater song necessarily that has 78 parts. Maybe it's an Iron Maiden tune that has 4 parts, right? Or whatever it might be. Again, these are choices that you need to make. All right. The next thing is a fretboard visualization in what music theory or guitar theory we can call it. This is a broad range of things, but fretboard visualization is what can you see on your fretboard? And theory, whether it's music theory or guitar theory, or what I often refer to as real world theory, is what do we know about what we see? Can we use the information that we see in a musical context? Right? So you're learning how to play the A minor pentatonic in one position. Well, now all of a sudden you're learning it across the entire fretboard. Or you're learning how to play an A major scale on your guitar, and now all of a sudden you're learning it across your entire fretboard. Or you're learning to play a C chord across your entire fretboard using the cage chording system, or whatever it might be. Okay, these are the bigger pictures that allow you more confidence when you look down at your fretboard which feeds into the next category, for more exploration on your fretboard. Because you feel better. You can see more things. You have more options of stuff that you can do. Now, again, you don't have to be in any hurry. This stuff takes time. So that's the third category, is fretboard visualization and theory. What can you see, and what do you understand about what you're trying to see on the fretboard? Right? So if you're trying to learn, again, you're learning arpeggios, but you don't understand your major scale yet, is that really the best thing to be doing next? I can't say that it is or isn't, but I want you to think about it a little bit, okay? And then the last category is creativity. You're taking all of these things that you're learning from all of these other categories, and you're culminating them together to become this player. The way you approach the fretboard when you strum or play chords, the way you approach the fretboard when you solo, the way you approach the fretboard when you write songs, what you understand about the songs that you're trying to write, right, in the genre or style that you're trying to write in. Exploring your fretboard, which is what we first started with, that kind of comes into this creative space, which is the fourth category that I'm telling you about, where you're just trying to take all of this information that you're feeding yourself, and you're trying to make it something that becomes part of you, that you can use, again, on a musical level. Okay? A lot of times what happens is players just get stuck in one of these 4 categories. So they're always just practicing songs, or they're always just practicing scales, or they're always just practicing speed picking, or whatever it might be, or they're always noodling. Right? The goal here is to be able to use these 4 different categories to start developing something that works for you on a daily basis. Now, you might not have time to get to all 4 of these categories every day. So then you start thinking, okay, well, do I do some one day and some the next day, or how do I do this? I can't answer that for you. I don't know you well enough to be able to define that for you. I don't spend all my time with you. But I want you to be aware that if you don't spend time in one of these categories, you're not feeding yourself that information, okay? You want that content coming in. You want new ideas coming in. You want your confidence level to rise, right? You want to have all these experiences. You want to be ready to be able to play music when you get together with other human beings out there, right? Whatever that music is. You want to develop all of those things on a technical level, so when you play, people go, wow, that's really good. You did great. It sounds awesome. Okay? And then as we move to the last 2, the theory, visualization, and creativity, theory and visualization are one thing. And then the creativity, that's now, it's all coming into you, right? You're starting to utilize this knowledge and what you understand and all these things you've been practicing, it's starting to come together. So again, I don't want to waste your time. I just want you to think about that a little bit, and maybe that will help you better understand how you should be going about organizing your daily practice. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you click the subscribe button so you're always notified when I have new videos. And if you need help choosing a guitar course that's perfect for you, make sure that you click the Help Me Choose link in the description.